Hello. I am the Linux Mensch. My last video was talking about how I cleaned up and updated my configuration files. And in the video, I said I cleaned and updated all my config files and made sure they were working properly, except for the void ones. I didn't touch the void folder. Well, now I've updated and cleaned up my void folder. So what I'm going to do is fresh install. I'm going to update the system, and I'm going to download my GitLab repository. So let's get to it. Right now I'm in my bare metal computer. It's Arch Linux with the i3 window manager. And what I did was I downloaded the void ISO and the files for the void ISO in order to verify it. So what I'm going to do is open up my web browser. Oh, and you're probably wondering, why am I at Arch Linux? So if you want to verify the signature of the void ISO in a non-void system like Arch Linux or Debian, you have to download a program. So I'm going to type in here, mini sign, hit enter, and this is the program. Now, if you're verifying a void ISO in a void system, you don't have to do this because MiniSign is already installed automatically by default in void. What I'm going to do is open up another workspace. So if you're in Arch Linux, you're going to do sudo pacman s mini sign. You're going to hit enter and you're going to download it. Now I'm not going to download it now because I already have it installed. And if you're in Debian, you're going to do apt install MiniSign. And I know it's available in Debian and Arch Linux because I tested it. Okay. So once that's installed, you're ready to download the ISO and to verify the signature and the SHA text. Okay. So now I'm going to go back to workspace 2 and we're going to go to void. So this is the void homepage. And what you're going to do is click on download. And you're going to scan down here. And they have a base install and install with the XFCE desktop environment. And they explain, if you read their website, they tell you that you shouldn't install the base unless you're a really experienced Linux user. So I'm not going to install the base. And I'm going to install the one with the XFC desktop environment. And they have two that you can use. And I'm going to do this one, glib. So all you got to do is click on this, and it's going to download the ISO. Now, I'm not going to click it on because I already downloaded it off camera. The ISO is 1.1 gig, which is really small for a Linux operating system with a desktop environment. The Arch Linux one is also 1.1, the base, but that's without a desktop environment. And most Linux distributions, when you download the ISO with their desktop environments, most of them are a small one would be 2.5 gig. Some of them are now 3 gig. Some of them are 3.5 gig. So this is downloading an ISO with a desktop environment, and it's only 1.1 gig. That's really small. And when I downloaded it, it only took 30 seconds, maybe a minute. Now, after you download the ISO, you're going to scan up. So you're going to go here to checksum. You're going to right-click it. You're going to click on Save Link As. And then you're going to click on Save. Now, I'm not going to save it because I already have it downloaded. Then you're going to go to the signature one. You're going to right-click this one on. Save Link As. And again, you're going to click on Save. And I'm not going to do it because, like I said with the other file, I already have it. Next, you're going to go to documentation. You're going to click on number 2. We're not going to click on live installers. We're going to click on number 2, installation. And then we're going to scan down to here. So it's telling you right here, if you read it, that you need to have MiniSign package. And it tells you that, like I already said, if you're verifying an ISO within a void operating system, you're already going to have MiniSign installed. But if you're verifying the ISO in another Linux distribution, then you have to download the MiniSign package. And I showed you how to do that in Arch Linux and in Debian. Okay. Now, it also tells you If you are not currently using Void Linux, it will be necessary to obtain the appropriate signing key from a Git repository. You're going to click on here, and it brings you to this page. And we're going to scan down. So they have 6 signing keys, but this one's 5 years old. This one's last year, and this one's 7 months ago. So the ISO that we downloaded is from March 2024, and now it's October. So the ISO is kind of old. So after we do our install, we're going to have to do a large update, but the update's not going to take more than 5 minutes. Okay. So this is the one you want. Now this time, we're not going to, like the other 2 files that we just downloaded, we're not going to right click and save link as, because that won't work with this particular file. It worked with the other 2 files, but not with this one. It will still download, but you won't be able to use it. Okay. So like I said, we're not going to right click and save link as. Instead, we're going to click it on and open it up. And we're going to click on this arrow and download the raw file. Okay. Now I already did that off camera, so I'm not going to do it again, but that's what you're going to do. Okay. Click on that. Now we're going to go to we're going to backspace. We're going to backspace again. And we're going to go down to the bottom of this page that we're at. Now that we've scanned down to the bottom of this page, and let's just go up to the top of the page so you can see where we're at. We're on to installation. Okay. We're going to go right to the bottom. We're going to go to workspace 1, and we're going to CD into the folder where I have my files. Okay. So I'm just going to go into my void folder and clear the screen. I'm going to LL. So you see I have 4 files here. Well, actually, this file is not a file. This is the live ISO. Okay, so you're going to have the ISO, and then you're going to have 3 files. You're going to have the SHA-256 sum sig, SHA-256 sum text, and the void release 2024 March 14th pub. So you're going to have the ISO and 4 files. Now these can be in any folder, but they all have to be in the same folder. So whether you have them in your download folder or you made a folder for void like I did, either way will work. Okay, they just have to be in the same folder. So now we're going to go back to our web browser, and we're going to copy this file here, and we're going to go back. Let's just copy it, and let's go back to workspace 1, and let's paste it in. So there's 2 things we're going to be checking. We're going to be verifying the SHA text, and if it's okay, that means that the ISO was downloaded without corruption, intact and full. And then we're going to verify the signature. And verifying the signature means that it was signed by one of the Void Linux developers and it hasn't been tampered with. So let's do this command here is going to check the SHA text to make sure that it downloaded properly, intact. So let's hit enter. And it just takes a moment, a couple seconds, and it's going to output OK, and it did. So it says OK. So we verified that the disk downloaded fine, and there's no corruption in it. Now we're going to check the signature. And the command is a little bit trickier. We're going to go back to the web space, or should I say the web page? And we're going to go up here. Now, if you're verifying the ISO inside, like, let's put it this way. If you're running Void Linux and you downloaded a new ISO and you want to verify it, you could use this whole command, except for the fact that you're going to have to change this part, right? Because this example is from June 28, 2023. We need the one from March 2024. But other than that, if you're in Void Linux and you're verifying the ISO, you're going to use the whole command, except this part. But if you're in Debian or you're in Arch Linux, then you're not going to use this part. This whole part is going to be taken off. And like I said, this part's going to be taken off because this is an old ISO. And if you're in Debian or Arch Linux, you're going to take this part off because this is not where the keys are going to be. You could put them there if you want, but that's not where I put mine. So I just put mine in my home folder, in a folder called ISO, and another folder called void. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy right up to the P, including the P. Let's copy it. Let's go here and let's paste it in. I'm going to leave a space and I'm going to put the ISO in. So I'm going to type in, well, I'm going to put the release in. I'm going to put void dash release and I'm going to tab it. So I put this file in. Okay, now I'm going to leave a space and I'm going to go back to the web page and I'm going to copy from the -X to the end. Okay, now like I said, if you're in Void Linux and verifying the signature, you can use the whole command except for this void release 2023, June 28th. You're going to have to change that one. But the way I'm doing it is not only am I going to change this one, I'm changing this first part, user share void release keys, because I didn't put the key there. I downloaded it into my home folder. I hope that makes sense, and I hope I'm not over-explaining it or repeating myself too much. So I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to go back to my terminal, and I'm going to insert it. So that's what the command is going to look like, and I'm going to hit enter, and it's good. The signature comment is verified. So we verified the signature that it's signed by the Void Linux team and it hasn't been tampered with. And we verified the SHA text that it was downloaded without corruption. So we're good to go. So now I'm going to put the video on pause. I'm going to create a virtual machine and do a full installation on camera, update the system, and then download my GitLab repository because my Void GitLab repository has been changed, altered. I added files to the auto app script, and I've updated it. Don't go away because I'll be back in a moment. Okay, so we've booted up onto the live ISO. First thing I'm going to do is fix the resolution, and I'm going to have to do this twice. Let's change that to 1368. Let's go 1360 by 768. That's it. Let's apply it. Let's keep the configuration. Let's close it. And also what I want to do is I'm going to have to do a couple things twice. I'm going to go into Power Manager. I don't want my screen going off while I'm doing this. And I'm going to have to do all this again after the install. And let's open up a terminal. And this I'm going to have to do again as well. Let's go to Appearance. Let's change this to monospace bold 16. Okay, let's close it. So now we're going to type in sudo. Oh, hey, I forgot to explain this. So this is the XFCE desktop environment. And most Linux distributions, when you log on to the live environment, there's an icon here to say, click this to install the system. Well, Void doesn't have it. So you're going to have to open up a terminal. And you're going to have to type in sudo void -installer. And there we go. And in the installer, you don't use your mouse. It's all keyboard driven. So we're going to hit enter. We're going to hit keyboard. And I'm going to hit my end button to go to the end. And I'm going to use my arrow keys to go up. And I'm going to click on US because I want the US keyboard. Network, hit enter. Network is working properly. Okay. Source. Now, if you're installing a base installation, you can use your arrows to go down and do network, but they suggest that if you're installing it with the XFCE desktop environment, you should use local. So we're going to use local. Packages from the ISO image. But it means we're going to have to do an update. And like I said, this ISO is from March and it's now October. We're going to hit enter. Now we're going to select our mirrors. Hit OK. I'm going to use my arrows to go to North America. And they say on the website that they don't manage tier 2 mirrors. They're not responsible for tier 2 mirrors. They're only responsible for a tier 1 mirror. So I'm going to pick the one at the top, Chicago, USA, tier 1. I'm going to hit enter. I'm going to say yes. And it's syncing the mirror. I'm going to OK it. Now the host name, I'm going to make a void. Okay. And locale, I'm going to type in EN and use my arrows to go down. And I'm going to click on this one, EN Canada, English Canada. Okay, time zone, I'm going to use my arrows to go to America. And now I'm going to type in the T, the letter T, and scan down, use my arrows to go down until I hit Toronto. And I'm going to hit OK. Root password, I'm going to put my root password in. I'm going to put it in again. User account, I'm going to put in Mensch. And you're going to have to enter it again, Mensch. Now password is there, and I'm going to hit the password in again. And this page adds your user to certain groups. I'm just not going to change anything here. I'm going to leave it on default. Okay. Bootloader is I gave this virtual machine a 50 gig hard drive, and I'm going to click on OK. Use a graphical terminal for the bootloader? Yes. Partition disks. Want to partition my 50 gig hard drive? OK. Now you can use your arrows to go to fdisk, which is for more advanced users, or cfdisk. I always use cfdisk, even when I'm doing my manual installs of Arch Linux. So I'm going to click that on. I'm going to click it on again, and use my arrows to go to DOS. And I'm going to click New, and I'm going to leave it at 50 gig. I'm going to hit Primary, use my arrows to go to Bootable, hit Enter. Oh, it didn't look like it worked. Let's try it again. There it is. Now I know it worked because the asterisk is there, right? Under boot. Now I'm going to use my arrows to go to right. And I'm going to type in the word yes. And I'm going to use my arrows to go to quit. Now we're back here. Now file system. I'm going to make a file system for VDA1, 50 gig. Hit enter. And use my arrows to go down to ext4. I always use ext4. And then here I'm going to put a slash, a forward slash that is. And I'm going to say yes. And now we can see that VDA1 50 gig is ext4. And I'm going to use my arrow to go down over to done. Okay, and hit enter. Now I'm going to start my installation. It's warning you that it's going to wipe out the hard drive while it's just a virtual machine. Just a safety check. I'm going to hit yes. And now it's installing the system. This is going to take about 5 minutes, and I'm going to pause the video and come back, so don't go away. So the installation finished. I think it only took about 2.5 minutes. I never even got off my chair. I'm going to hit yes, and it's rebooting. We're rebooting into the brand new installation, and because it's a virtual machine, I'm going to have to make it full screen. And we're at the login screen, so I'm going to put my password in, and it's going to log into the XFCE desktop environment. There we are. So the first thing I'm going to do is fix the display. Don't show this again. Let's get into here. Let's do display. And this is the last time I'm going to have to do this. 1360 by 768. Apply it. Keep the configuration. Close it. And I'm just going to go into the Power Manager because I don't want my screen going off. And display. We already did this on the live environment, but you have to do it again after the install. And let's go into the terminal. And I'm going to have to do this again too. Let's go to Appearance. Let's go to Monospace Bold. Let's kick it up to 16. Select. Okay, so now we're going to do an update. So I'm going to do sudo xbps -install -S U. And it's asking for my password. And now it's going to go through an update. This update takes about 5 minutes. I'm going to pause the video and come back, so don't go away. So the update is finished, and I'm going to reboot. So you have to do sudo reboot. And the update took less than 5 minutes, maybe took 2 or 3 minutes, I'm not sure, but not long. Enter. And now we're going to boot into our brand new installation that's been updated. And we're going to put our password in. And so this is the XFCE desktop environment, and they don't give you a lot of apps. So for instance, internet, there's Firefox. Let's open it up. And one thing you might want to do is go here, go to settings, go to extensions and themes, type in uBlock and click on uBlock Origin. And let's install it. Add to Firefox. Add. Okay. And we're adding it to Firefox. Now, normally in Arch Linux, I do this from the Arch Linux repository. I download uBlock Origin. But here, we're just going to do it in here, okay? And now I'm going to close that. So other than Firefox, there's really not that many applications. You know, for graphics, there's just an image viewer. For accessories, there's just a file manager. And there's a terminal. There's multimedia. There is a Parole, or is it Parole? Media player. I never heard of it. It's pretty basic. This is, let's go to our file manager. There we are. And it's Stunar, okay? What I'm going to do is open up a terminal. And I'm going to install my GitLab repository and my favorite window managers and some applications. So Git is not installed by default, so you're going to have to install it. So you're going to do sudo xbps -install git. Put the password in, and we're installing Git, and this is just going to take a moment. And that's it. Now I'm going to clear the screen. And you do git clone https://gitlab.com artibus1/mensch.git, and I'm going to hit enter. And I'm downloading my GitLab repository. And if this command is too long for you to remember, it's in the show notes of all my videos. So now I'm going to clear the screen, and I'm going to cd into Mensch. And then clear the screen, I'm going to ls it. So like I had mentioned earlier in the video, in my last video, I showed how I updated all these folders and files and added things and deleted things and made sure everything was working properly. So I made sure I tested all the files that are in Debian to make sure they're working. And the same with Linux Mint Debian, Linux Mint Ubuntu, Arch, FreeBSD, and GhostBSD. But in that video, I mentioned that I hadn't touched my void folder. Well, now my void folder has been updated. So let's cd into it. Let's clear the screen. Let's ls it. And I added i3 and i3 status to it. And in the run configs, we're going to buy into the run configs. Let's just do set nu. In line 8, I added i3 and i3 status to this file, the script. Let's quit out of there. And let's buy into AutoApp. And also let's set nu. So in AutoApp, I added a lot of files now. If we go to the bottom, this is a lot smaller than the one that's in my Arch, way smaller. But I think the one in Arch is up to 86 lines now. But this is bigger than it was, the one in Void. So the one that I had in Void before was really, really small. And I'll tell you what I added. Let's go to the top. So what I added D menu, i3 status, nitrogen, papyrus icon theme, Ramina, and the other things were there before. Okay, so let's get out of there and let's run the script. It's going to install those. So let's clear the screen. Let's do /auto. Let's tab it. Let's enter, and let's enter. So right now I'm installing the Awesome Window Manager, the Qtile Window Manager, the i3 Window Manager, D menu, Rhythm Box for music, Uncomplicated Firewall, the full LibreOffice suite, and whatever else was in that file. So I'm going to pause the video because this takes about 5 minutes and I'm going to come back. So don't go away. So that finished, it took about 3 minutes, and I'm going to clear the screen. And I'm going to run my run config file. Okay, I'm going to hit enter, and it's done. I'm going to clear the screen. Now I'm going to see if my Zesh file is working, and it is. I'm going to cd, I'm going to su into root, and I'm going to put my password in, root's password. I'm going to see if my Zesh is working in root, and it is. Now that I'm in root, I'm going to do vim etc password. And I'm going to go to the end, and I'm going to type in Zesh. And I'm going to scan down to Mensch line, and I'm going to go to the end. I'm going to type in Zesh. I'm going to save the file, and I'm going to reboot. Oh, I don't have to do sudo because I'm in root. So I'm going to do reboot, and I'm going to pause the video and come back, so don't go away. Okay, so we rebooted, and we're at the login screen. So now we can see I have Qtile, Awesome Window Manager, and the i3 Window Manager. So let's go into Qtile. Let's put my password in. I'm not going to stay long in Qtile. I'm not going to show you how to use it because I have videos on that. So we're in Qtile. So let's do mod F. It's going to open up Firefox. And there we are. Okay, I'm going to get out of there. Let's get out. And now we're going to go into the Awesome Window Manager. And I'm going to put my password in. Now we're in the Awesome Window Manager. And right click, let's click on Firefox. There we are. Now I'm going to open up this. I'm going to type in LX custom look and feel. I'm going to hit enter. And I'm going to click on Add Dark. I'm going to click on Icon Theme. I'm going to click on Papyrus Dark. I'm going to apply it. I'm going to close that. And let's go to PCManFM, our file manager. And there's our file manager. And if you notice, I gave you 4 wallpapers. Okay? Right there in the home directory. And I'm going to close this. And let's click on Rhythm Box. And there's Rhythm Box. I don't have any music in here in this virtual machine. And some of the things in this awesome menu are not installed, like OBS is not installed. But if you install OBS, this command should work. And OpenShot is not installed. Neither is Kdenlive. So if you want to install these, this thing for Kdenlive, OBS, OpenShot, they should work. I don't know if OpenShot is available in Void or not, but I'm sure OBS is and Kdenlive is. So if something is not working in this menu, it means it wasn't installed. Because if you noticed, my auto app install script is a lot smaller than it is in the Arch Linux one. So what I'm going to do is quit. Let's get out of there. Now we're going to go into the i3 Window Manager. i3, let's put our password in. And what I'm going to do is open up D menu. Now normally it's mod key D is for D menu, but I have mod key P is for D menu because mod key P opens up the run launcher in my configuration files for Awesome and Qtile. Okay, so mod key opens up D menu. Let's type in nitrogen. Let's click on preferences. We have see this recursive here. You really should unclick it. So I'm going to unclick it. Then I'm going to click on Add. I'm going to go to my home directory. I'm going to go Select. I'm going to go OK. And now I'm going to pick a wallpaper. I'm going to apply it. And I'm going to close this. Okay, so now we have wallpaper. Now, mod key F is going to open up Firefox. There's mod key F. And there's Firefox. And let's see if we have some sound. Let's go to YouTube. Let's go to Linux Mensch. Type in Linux Mensch. So this video, in case you didn't watch it, is the one I was talking about. Updated configs. And like I said the other day, I updated all my configs except for the Void Linux ones. I made a video about it. But now, like I said, my Void Linux configuration files are all updated and ready for you to download and use if you so choose. Turn off my mic and I'm going to turn on the video and see if we have sound. Every once in a while, you need to clean them up and update them or make changes to them. And sometimes things even stop working in them because a particular distribution or a particular application might have changes in it. Okay, so now we know that the media is working. I'm going to close my web browser. Now let's see if LibreOffice is working. Let's do mod key. Let's do LibreOffice. Open it up. Let's go into Document Writer. And there's my Document Writer. Let's close it. Let's go into Calc, which is the spreadsheet program. And there's the spreadsheet program. And let's close it. Now I'm going to open up a terminal. And let's see if our firewall is working. Because, after I installed the firewall and the configuration file, I rebooted. Let's see if it's working. Let's do sudo uncomplicated firewall status. Put password in, and it's active. And let's do verbose. And it's not only is it active, the default is deny incoming and allow outgoing. Perfect. And let's clear the screen. So let's say you want to install a program. You're going to do sudo xbps install. And let's say it was Firefox. Like that. And you hit enter. Let's say you wanted to remove Firefox. So you do remove. Okay, just like that, and it would take Firefox out. Let's say you want to do an update. Then you're going to do update dash capital S U. So now I'm going to open up another workspace. And I'm going to go to Firefox. Now I'm in Firefox and I'm at the Void Linux website. And what you want to do is go to documentation. Their documentation page is fantastic. It's just as good as Gentoo or Arch Linux or even Debian. And it's probably one of the better ones. And if you go to the side, look at all the chapters they have. They have chapters, so you can just jump to the chapter that you need to look at. So I'm going to scan down. And I'm going to go to section 4. Which is the package manager, the XBPS package manager. So I'm going to click it on. And here you have all kinds of information on how to use a package manager. It shows you how to do a query, shows you how to do an install, shows you how to remove a package, how to reconfigure, alternatives, and so forth. Here, this is the command for updating, which I already showed you. And you can go down and let's just go to the next page. There's more information here. And like I said, the documentation page is fantastic. So really you should spend some time in it. I want to do Htop on a fresh reboot. So let's type in sudo reboot. I forgot to do that. Let's put my password in. And I'm going to pause the video while it's rebooting. And let's put my password in. Oop, my mouse is on the wrong screen. Put a password in, and let's open up a terminal, and let's do an Htop. And look at that. Wow. Running at 178 megabytes of RAM. So this virtual machine, I gave it a 50 gig hard drive, 4 processors, 4 gigs of RAM, and no swap, because I never use swap. And look at this, it's running at 178 megabytes of RAM. Not bad, eh? Now let's close that, and let's do a Neofetch. Oh, Neofetch has it running a little higher, 191 megabytes of RAM. Ooh. And that's it. In this video, I showed you how to download and verify a Void Linux ISO. And I showed you how to go through an installation, how to update the system, and how to download my GitLab repository. And I also showed you that my Void Linux folder in my GitLab repository was updated and changed, and I added some files to it. I hope you learned something today, and I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please like it and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching. Until next time, I am the Linux Mensch.